Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Cup of Joy. I'm your host, Ariana Joy Christie, and I am so glad that you are here. This is a space to inspire, to learn, to grow, and to challenge. Get ready to fill your cup and spread a little joy along the way.
Okay, Catalina Margulis, book coach, publishing consultant, and author of Again, Only More Like You. Welcome to Your Cup of Joy.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Of course, I'm so happy that you're here, and I am really excited to hear about your book because it just came out yesterday.
It did.
So, can you share with us a little bit about what the book is about?
Yes. It's a book about best friends, Carmen and Allie, who are starting over just as their 40th birthday is approaching. And they're on opposite sides of the motherhood spectrum. One is married with 3 kids, stay at home of 3 kids. One is still looking for love in all the wrong places. And so at the same time, they feel like they're losing each other too. So it's about falling down, getting back up again, starting over, and creating a life you love, even if it's not the life you imagined.
I love that so much. And what is it that sparked this idea for you? Was there something personally in your life that happened? Was this a story that was just kind of running around in your head? How did this come to be?
Oh, it definitely hijacked my life.
Okay.
It was something that I was personally going through. I had young kids and I had worked my whole life to build this enviable career. And the two were just competing and colliding. And I found that that was the case for a lot of my other mom friends. I knew we were all kind of going through the same thing. And then I also had a lot of friends that are still single, still wondering, can they make that dream happen for themselves? And so it was just so interesting to see these two different camps and the different conversations. I'm like, somebody's got to write this. And so
Yeah.
the book basically wrote itself in, a short amount of time. And it's just been about refining it and making it a better story all this time.
That is incredible. And so you are a mom of
Yes.
4,
Yes.
actually, and obviously a businesswoman, as you've shared with us.
Yeah.
And one of my least favorite questions, but I love to hear the answers, so I'm going to ask you anyways, is how do you do it all?
Oh my God. It is so hard.
Yeah.
It's so
Totally.
hard. I'll be totally honest and transparent. This week, I'm supposed to be launching a book. This week, of all the weeks, this week is supposed to be about me. And it has not been about me. I have a daughter who's sick at home with fever for the past 2 days. Kids, like one of my kids is an actor and he has auditions. And my other son, 16-year-old, is trying to get a summer job. He's got a job interview. So I'm like, how am I supposed to juggle all of these things? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So the struggle is real. And, but I mean, normally on a normal week, what works for me is definitely compartmentalization and also just setting the bar really low. I just little chipping away at my dreams, at my projects, at my passion projects, at my business, just little milestones that I get to achieve every day. So I always feel like to a certain extent, I'm winning. If I got this 1 or 2 or 3 things done today, I'm winning. And that's the progress instead of waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment has never arrived.
Will never come. Yeah. I love that so much because often, especially in early postpartum days, I would say to my friends and to my mom, I'm always failing at something. Like, if I'm a really good wife today and a really good mom, then my house is a mess. If my house is clean, then maybe I feel like I haven't been so much of a good mom or the best friend I could be. Like, there's always something that I felt like I was failing at. So I love this mindset of putting it into smaller digestible pieces so that you can feel like you are succeeding and that you are winning. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a friend who's older, her kids are older, and she's always reminding me because of all the mom guilt that I carry too. And she's like, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So it's like,
Mm.
even if it's just the tuck in at night with my older boys, especially, even if it's just that conversation at the end of a crazy day, that you have
Mhm.
that connection point and like that you're sustaining that and doing that every day, that matters more than just spending 24/7 with them. But running around and not really being super connected. So that's always been
I
helpful.
really love that. And I've been having that perspective lately too. Like, sometimes when my work is really busy, I will feel so bad that I'm not home for all of those moments or all of the activities Or I think back to my early postpartum days when I was at home all the time. And I think back to those times and I wasn't so intentional with my time with them because I was trying to do everything else. And so you're right. I think when we can really be intentional with our time, especially with our kids, also with friendships and relationships, it makes a huge difference, like
Mm.
quality over quantity for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the same for writing too. I ask my authors, I mean, it, it doesn't have to be a week in the woods because again, that perfect moment isn't rarely is going to show up. Can you do 20 minutes? Can you
Mm,
do a walk? Can
yeah,
you just muse and dream for a little bit? So, yeah, I think as moms and business owners and passion project followers and fulfillers, it really is about just little milestones and a lot of grace.
a lot of grace. That's the hardest part for me. And in that too, I think a lot about being present, especially in motherhood, because that's something that's like all consuming. When you're with your friends, it's like, oh, I'm going to see them once this month. So I can be really like intentional about that piece of time. But in motherhood, it is difficult and different because it's 24/7. So how do you stay present in motherhood while also having a successful business, having a community, having all those other things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning because it's like constantly changing too, right? The kids constantly
True.
change. They constantly change the game on us. So every time you think I've got this, I've nailed it, it's like, oh,
So
we're in a new
true.
phase. And as a business founder, my business just keeps growing and scaling and growing. So I'm always having to find like a new rhythm.
Hmm.
Um, but I remind myself that the reason why I chose to work for myself, even though I realize that being an entrepreneur really is a 24/7 job, it never shuts off, but
Yeah.
is the fact that I can drive them to school and we will have I always do my little coaching. Sorry for the mic. I'm like always coaching my kids on the drive to school. And then I pick them up. We have a great connected chat after that. I make them a snack and then they go play and they go do all the things that they're going to do. So it is like these little moments of connection
Mm,
that I remind myself like that's what it's about. And maybe I don't walk them around the block like we used to when they were babies. You know what I mean? And we don't necessarily do the thing after dinner of walking around the neighborhood and them playing outside because everybody's busy and they have activities and lives and friends of their own. So it's changed. And I also get to release a little bit of what it should look like based on what it's
mm.
been in the past. And that's what I've been moving through right now.
I love that. And I think that is important. So often we have this, especially with social media, I will say, like you, I catch myself feeling that I'm holding these expectations for myself that nobody else is holding. It's me. It's because I saw somebody else doing it and I feel like I should. But then I'm trying to be better at thinking like, is this something I actually want to do? Like, will my kids actually enjoy this? Or am I doing it because I feel like I should? And
Mhm.
that's a hard thing to switch off because so often it's subconscious that it's happening to us.
100%.
But yeah, I think releasing that, like, I should do this makes a
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does. And yeah, I think it's like, yeah, it's always a, you know, what do I really want? And
Mm,
it's always been hard for me to shut off. Like even when I had, when my kids were babies, I just keep creating. It's like,
yeah.
why do I keep making myself so busy and make myself so crazy? I can just sit in front of the TV and nurse, but I'm like, I just could
Can't.
not
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
That's just how I'm built. But the other thing I'm seeing is that like maybe I can't be that mom for them, and I'm hoping that there's something else that I'm doing that's going to work for them. Like they're seeing the entrepreneur mom, they're seeing the make it happen mom, coach mom. So my
Yeah.
love is maybe looking a little bit different. Again, and it's just that those motherhood expectations that we have of what a good mother looks like and what a
Mhm.
good mother does. And I can't do that. I'm just not built like that. And hopefully my flavor of mothering will not screw up my kids
Yeah.
and make them
That's the
well-rounded,
goal.
successful adults.
Totally. But I think that's cool for you to even be able to verbalize and acknowledge and notice. Like, there are certain things of motherhood that I anticipated I would love and that I learned that I don't love. And I felt so bad and so guilty that I couldn't even say it for so long. And so I think acknowledging like, no, these are the parts that I'm good at. These are the parts that I like. And then diving into that is actually what can be so much more beneficial for us and for our kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Thank
Um,
you.
and speaking of mom guilt too, like that is something that is such a big hot topic, I would say, probably because everybody feels it at some point in their life. Is this something that you experience? And if so, like how do you cope with mom guilt?
All the
It's the
time, all
worst.
day, every day. Like,
Ugh.
even like, I think, why do we even think it's selfish? I guess maybe there's a story we should write around what's selfish and what's not selfish. Like, again, I'm launching a book this week. I'm like, if there's a time that I can put me first when I've put my kids mostly first, and then but then feeling bad about that, and something that because the kids are like, mom, we got to go shopping, mom, can you get me this hairspray, mom, I need this, I need that, and it's like it's relentless, especially with 4 kids and you've got 3 kids. It's like it's just nonstop, somebody's always needing
Nonstop.
something, and it's like,
Yep.
hey, like, guys, I need something right now.
Mm,
I need something right now. I need a little bit of space, I need a little patience. And but and I'm like, when this book launches over, I'll be back. You know what I mean? And but yeah, it just feels like, there's this, I guess, internal, like, they should be first. This should be second. This should fall into line. And it's just like, yeah, it's a struggle. How do I mentally do that? I think, well, I was actually chatting with somebody about this the other day. I think as much as I feel guilty, as much as I feel mom guilt, I can kind of coach myself. I've done enough coaching and personal development. I can coach myself through those conversations. And 2 things come up. One is that they see me prioritize myself. So
mhm.
hopefully I'm modeling that for them, especially my daughter, because that's something that women do, super supporters. And that also for my boys, that they see that they're not the center of the world. I mean, I want them to be the center of the world, and they are the center of my world, but
Yeah.
I exist too, and I existed before, and I'll exist after they leave the house, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I hope that they just, will, it's hard for them. It's hard for me to see them struggle through that, but hopefully that will create a capacity for them to have space in their life for like a partner, wife, like whatever, that they realize that they're not the only person. This is not just their movie, and that they will have to be patient and hold space for other people as they're going through whatever they're going through. So I just hope it uh, opens their capacity for empathy and compassion and patience, as hard it is. Because honestly, the thing about parenting and raising kids is, like, the good stuff is really hard. Like, the
Totally.
disciplining is really hard. You're not the only person here is really hard. So,
Mhm.
and that's also what we get to do as parents.
And it's a struggle. Like I often think, so I have twins also. You have
Yes.
twins too, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, and something I didn't anticipate about twins was that, like they would like to do different things and they would have different
Mm.
interests. And sometimes my interests will resonate more with one than the other. And it's not that one thing is better or one interest is better, but how to like fully dive into both of their interests and needs.
Oh,
And I think it also puts at the forefront things like sharing, like simple concepts like that when they're young. Like when you're an only child, that's not something that you have to really think about as a parent until later. And so it's really given me good perspective and understanding. I used to feel a lot of guilt of like I can't always pick them up when they're crying. Like they had to learn
right.
that like sometimes you're going to cry and mom can't come to you right away. So it's like these hard life lessons of you're not the center of attention 24/7 are learned so early on in life,
Oh,
both from their perspective and as the perspective, like as the parents' perspective. Like it used to keep me up at night thinking like, did I not spend enough time with Axel because Oscar cried more today, or vice versa? I'd be like, does Oscar know I love him? Like, of course, but I would stress so hard about that. And so again, it's the guilt. Like it's
oh my
wild.
God. It's so fun getting, I don't have that many twin mom friends, like, especially like,
Oh,
young ones, but I'm like, that resonates so much because I was like, honestly, they were always going in 2 different directions, and like
always.
2 of them are going to get hurt. I got to pick one, or both of them have the flu and both of them are throwing up at the same time. And you're like, I
Yeah,
can only pick up one. So oh my God, those were so hard. I feel for them so much. Like one was always falling down off the playground set, like, but
totally.
I could only catch this one first. And I'm like, oh my
Yep.
God, I can really
It's
relate to that.
so hard. But I do like looking at it through the lens of like them learning these life lessons that are very important. And I think when you verbalize the things to your kids too, like I've learned a lot that like just talking to them
Mm.
when I've failed and explaining that, and like that makes a huge difference. And sometimes not intentionally, like quite a while ago. My twins are 4, and I feel like last year, probably when they were 3, I had said to them, because they both would want me to carry them all the time. And at that point in time, I was pregnant or had a newborn. And I just was like, guys, I'm one person. Like that, those words would come out of my mouth a lot. Or I only have 2 hands. All 3 want to hold my hands. Like I only have 2 hands. And one day I asked Axel, like, hey, can you carry your backpack and your lunch pail, please? And he had a toy in his hand. And he was like, Mom, I only have 2 hands. I was like, true. You're right. And it just
Oh
like I
my
could hear
God.
myself saying it, and I thought like, okay, like even though they're toddlers, they can understand fully what we are thinking and feeling much
Yeah.
more than we give them credit for.
Oh my God. So cute. Oh, you're taking me back.
Just so funny, but these are true like good life lessons we can give our kids that really help with that mom guilt and allow us to realize like we can switch this from being a bad thing to actually being like a constructive life lesson. And I think that that is such good perspective.
Yeah. I mean, even on a spiritual level, sometimes I wonder, I don't know how much, where you are on things, but it's like, why were you guys born with as twins, or my daughter has 3 older brothers. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what did you do to deserve this? What pact did you make in heaven for this to be your destiny? But I'm just like, I'm always also just curious, like on a, karmic spiritual level, like what are you here to learn that this is the algorithm that you were born into?
Totally.
Fascinating.
Totally. It is so fascinating. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and it kind of going off of that mom guilt a little bit, and you saying like how we can teach our kids that actually like we are a human being too that has needs. And I think modeling that behavior is very important. And again, that's a mindset switch. I kind of started this podcast because I wanted to talk about self-care.
Mm.
Probably because I was feeling like I was being selfish anytime I wanted to practice self-care.
Mhm.
And I just quickly realized that if I practiced self-care, even in a small way, like something very digestible every day, that I would show up as a better version of myself in every aspect of life. And so I kind of wanted to debunk this myth that self-care is selfish and really show people that prioritizing yourself actually can be selfless because you really do show up as a better version of yourself. So my question for you is self-care something that you prioritize? Is it kind of like at the forefront, or are you
Mm.
just, busy, busy, busy and it's not really
I
something
mean,
that you
I
focus
think it's critical. I mean, I think that that's very much what the book was born from, and the whole
on?
writing practice is. And what I found, I mean, I didn't know it until I got into it, but I did find in my writing journey that if I write first thing in the morning, that like I'm good for the rest of the day.
Mm,
Like I am set up and I'm like, I did this one thing fulfills me deeply. I feel like I'm moving toward my own personal dreams aside from having a family and marriage and all of those things. And so I feel like I was able to come at my day from having a different come from versus always feeling depleted, always feeling like nobody appreciates me. I'm just kind of like here to serve, and I'm never, you know what I mean? Like
totally.
instead of being from resentment, I'm like I took care of me first. It's that whole, put the oxygen mask on you first, and writing
Totally.
was that for me for a really long time, because I've been moving into a book launch mode. That's been replaced by a lot of like, book revision and marketing and all these other things. So what my writing practice evolved into was also like a spiritual practice. So just like making sure I take time in the morning to read the Bible and pray and just like reconnecting, and centering and grounding myself. And again, just setting an intention for the day and coming from love, I feel really strengthens me and allows me to move through my day better equipped for all the things that are going to happen.
I love that. I think it's so important because especially when you see people that are really busy, like it can look stressful.
Mm,
And you can think like, do you slow down? So
mhm.
it's so good to hear that that is, something that's important to you and I think should be important to anybody. I think that's incredible.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, it does happen first thing in the morning. I think that that's the best way because the day just sort of slowly takes you on a different
Falls
journey,
away.
right? But I
Yes.
mean, I used to, when my kids were younger, I'd clear them away. They'd be off to bed and I'd start my running at 8 o'clock at night. So that part of the self-care kind of happened later in the day.
Hmm.
But as they got older and stayed up later, it's like just gets pushed up to the morning. But I think it does set my course better for the day.
That's amazing. I
Thank
love
you.
that. Um, are there other ways that you practice self-care right
Mm.
now?
I mean, exercise, and that was
Mm,
always something definitely when I was in corporate and, you didn't have as much control over your time. That was
totally.
something that didn't get taken care of. And so since I'm become an entrepreneur and stay-at-home mom and all of those things, I definitely made that workout first thing in the morning because that is so nurturing. And again, just like being out in nature as much as possible, working
Mm,
out, writing, it all for me, those are my different ways of self-care and nurturing myself, taking care of myself. And then I have more to give everybody else.
mhm. I couldn't agree more because I used to be stuck in this mindset of like, well, I don't have the time, first off. And if I take time away from the kids, then that's, you know, a negative. Like I never looked at it as a positive thing. It was just something that was uh, like almost like a fantasy in my head. Like it would be nice to go to the gym, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's a non-negotiable. Like it's something that if I don't do, I'm going to feel like shit for the rest of the day. I'm going to be angry. I'm not going to be the best mom I could be. And probably I won't get all the things done that I need to in the day because even though I'll have more time, I won't have as much energy.
Right.
And when it's that switch and we take away the limitations, I think it makes all of the difference.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And again, it's modeling it for them that they see this is how I can perform at a high level in my life, in my business, and everything that I do. And it's just the air that I breathe and the water that I drink. Is I need to do
Totally.
those things so that I can be a good mom, a good business owner, a good friend, a good wife,
Mhm.
all of those things.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think, again, like we sometimes don't give our kids enough credit for the understanding that they actually are able to have. And so often, like, we just assume, like, oh, if I'm away from them, they'll think I don't love them. Like, it's
Mhm.
this big overarching thing why we feel our mom guilt. But lately, especially since I've been going to the gym, I've been talking to the kids about it. Like, initially, I would just say, like, oh, mom's going out. But they started to ask questions. And so then I started saying to them, like, mommy's going to the gym. And they'd say, why? And I'd say, well, because mommy wants to be so strong so that I can play with you and spend time with you and do the things that you love to do so that I have the energy to do that. Now, when they see me pick up my running shoes at the door, they'll say, Mom, are you going to the gym so you can get strong so you can play with me? I'm
That's
like, "Hell yes, I am. That's
yeah,
exactly what I'm doing." Like, and so
that's great.
it's so cool that at 4 years old, they can really understand that, and now they wanna do things for them that fill their cup. Like, when we change the language that we use and we speak to the people around us like they are the people around us, like, it really
Mhm.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. I really love that. It's really cool that you put words to it. You know what I mean? Because it's one
Uh-huh.
thing to just go ahead and do it, but to communicate it, put words to it so they can, um, learn from it. It's really beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah, I just think it's so important and helps me too. Like,
Yeah.
it is reciprocal. It's for both. In seasons where you've felt maybe like stretched thin or burnt out, which I know can happen a lot with a busy career, especially, what has helped you come back to yourself?
Hmm. Again, just having that. I also used to do Headspace, I think was the app. So I used to do
Mm,
meditation before I was really in a practice of prayer. I used to do meditation, but just having that time alone to center, get grounded, coach myself as I need to.
mhm.
That's where I come back to myself. Because again, you can just get pulled away by the day and by your circumstances. And I think
Totally.
that's really important because if you don't set an intention, it's like I say to people, if you don't have it in your calendar, it doesn't exist, right? So
True.
you really do need to block things create a space for what it is you do want, because otherwise life will just backfill it in and backfill it in and backfill it in. And I think it's the same thing with our minds. So creating that space where I can just like sit down and think, get grounded, get centered, be in gratitude, like all of those things. Now I kind of have like I hate to say armor, but I'm equipped for the day.
Yeah, totally. It's funny that you say that because I'm doing occupational therapy with one of my kids because he has these big feelings and I don't know how to help him understand how to cope with that, let alone cope with it myself. And lately we've been learning language is everything. Like I'm really understanding that
Mhm.
now. And she has taught us in our last session, actually on Monday, that he has tools in his toolbox to help him. So it is like your armor. Like when we think of it in that tangible way,
Mm.
it just does change our mindset and really helps us understand like I need my armor to go out into the day, the
Mhm.
busy, scary, wild day, you know? So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. 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 And I'm like you, I have, a kid too that's got a lot, and I've been learning a lot from that process too. And
Mhm.
so much of it is mind management, but also what we're talking about today is a lot of energy management. And I should
Yeah.
probably there are just things that I do to protect my energy too. And that's part of my
Mhm.
self-care is like, what am I watching? What am I reading? How do I organize my day around energy? So it's become autopilot for me.
Yeah.
But at one point I did have to plan it and be intentional about it. And so, yeah, I think energy management is another thing to consider.
Yeah, huge.
Mhm.
Are there any like non-negotiables that you have that protected in your week just for you that are like this has to happen?
Yeah, I used to not do anything before. I used to not have any meetings before 12. And then
Oh,
my
cool.
business ended up scaling. So that's been changing, but I'm going to get that back.
Mhm.
And so morning was really writing, working out, taking care of me, and then the rest of the day I belong to everybody else.
Mm.
The other thing, and this is kind of like energy management too, was like having a soft landing on Monday and Friday. It's like I kind of have like days of the week, and different days have different flavors, but I like
Mhm.
having Monday to just again like just get really grounded and intentional about my week. So um I don't know if that answers your question or where I've taken us, but
Yeah.
this
No,
is
I think that's great. And those are all really great like tools or things that people can take home with them too to do. Like, yeah, Monday and Friday, like
Mm,
let's chill out a little bit. Because a lot of the time when you're filling your calendar, I find too, like, of
yeah.
course, different jobs, there are different requirements. But if I'm filling my day in with meetings or content time or things like that, like I choose when I put those in my calendar. So if I'm now knowing, like, okay, let's do a little bit less on Mondays and a little bit less on Fridays, and let's pack the middle of our week because that's when I have enough energy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's like the other thing that's really supported me. And I talk a lot about sprints.
Mm,
And so I can even have like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays as like micro sprints, right? I'm like, again, big energy, but I know it's just like this short window. And then I know I'm going to have Friday, and then I know I'm going to have
mhm.
Monday, instead of like always just being
Go,
um,
go, go.
letting your life run you. It's like I'm running the show here. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like I decide what we do when we do it. I mean, there's a little bit of flex, right?
Of
But
course.
I like that there's like a different energy, the days that I coach, and there's a different day that I have like Fridays. I try to do a lot of like little connections and meeting people. And so every day's got a different vibe to it.
I love that.
And yeah, keeps it fun for me.
That's awesome. It's so great. And that's a way for people to really take that home and apply those things too. So that's awesome. I'm reflecting a lot lately on what success looks like for different people, and that we sometimes look at success as just one thing. A lot of the time it's like monetary, and there's no end to that. And so it's like a constant like rat race to who's going to make it to the end of no end. And so I just love asking people like, what is your definition of success, or has your definition of success changed as you've,
Mm.
had changes in your family and your career as you've grown as a person? What is success to you?
Mm. Yeah, I think it used to be titles. It used to be
Mm,
like looking good and all the fancy titles and enviable jobs and things like that. And then when I
mhm,
had kids, success was ownership of my time.
Mm,
And I chased that until I got into entrepreneurship, you know?
totally.
And then I think the next thing for me, success was personal fulfillment. And I really just started, it wasn't like, okay, I'm, a serial entrepreneur. I actually had several businesses, but they were very transactional. It's just about the money and being able to work from home and be with my kids more. Um, and then I went like the totally opposite way, which is like, who cares about money? I'm just going to do things for fun. And I'm just going to just be deeply personally fulfilled. And I've been fortunate that the money has followed to a certain
Mhm.
extent. So,
Yeah.
that's what like, one of my kids is 16 now. I'm like, what do you love to do?
Mhm.
What would be, I love the work that I do. Like, I to my family who's listening right now, like I almost love hanging out with my clients more than I love hanging out with my family, right? Because my
Yeah.
clients are appreciative, they're grateful, they pour back into
Yes.
me, but I'm like, we have so much fun together. Like I can't wait to get on our calls and do what we're gonna do.
Aw.
And so it's the work is joyful. It doesn't feel like work. And I say, I don't work for money anymore. I have fun and somehow I make ends meet at the same time,
Mhm.
And so that's what success is for me, is getting to do things I'm passionate about with people I love and care about. Like that's winning.
I could not agree more. I think oftentimes we think of a job just as a way to make ends meet, but when we are passionate about something and when passion can align with our work, it makes a huge, huge difference. And I do realize and understand that that's not the reality for everybody and that it's difficult to find that. But I think if you can really put your mind to finding some kind of joy within your work, that it just it changes everything.
It does. And it's something worth like fighting for. And I'm not going to say it's been easy. I mean, sometimes I'm sure my kids would have just appreciated if I took the big salary corporate job. Like, what's it to
Sure.
them? Especially as they get older, they're like, I don't need to spend quality time with you. What I
Yeah.
really need are these designer shoes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like now they would rather that I didn't follow my heart, but I hope that they appreciate that I'm, pretty joyful. I'm having a lot of fun, and hopefully that
Yeah.
inspires them to go after that. And these things take time to build.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, starting a business is hard, and you take your hits, and
Yeah.
you're probably not making money for a good few years. And then everything after that is building and building and building.
Mhm. For sure. Are there times that you ever made like a big decision in business or life based on like your intuition? Like you have a feeling and it kind of sounds like maybe this, is a scary thing, but what happened?
I think probably my a decision I made. I think it might have been in tool. I had a few book coaching clients, but I had one foot in, one foot out, and I still had a bunch of
Okay.
older contracts.
Mhm.
And it was when I decided I was going to shut the door, release all my former clients, and I was just going to be 100% passion project, 100% book, 100% of the time. And I remember that was a very decisive time. And it was like, I'm all in, because if I'm going to build this, it's going to require all of me. And so I felt like, I think what was intuitive was, feeling like my first clients had kind of fallen from the sky, and it was so much fun. I'm like, I just want to do that again. Let's just do that again. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it wasn't by my design, but I felt that was by a higher design. And so I was following that, and I was following that fact that we had success with it. My clients were happy. I had a great time, and was trusting that, more was going to come from that. So, but yeah, it was some lean years in the meantime.
And it's hard, right? Like when you have a feeling and you want to do something, but there's limitations or there's what feels right or like what I'm supposed to do again. It's difficult to just actually listen to your intuition, but that's incredible that you were able to.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, what the characters experience in this book too um, I mean, what is that saying, that you have to lose the shore to find what's on the other side? Like you do have to kind of like
Mm,
swim away for the shore. So there is a a certain amount of faith and leaps of faith, and you have to take those first steps
Totally.
before then something materializes. And yeah, I just think that that's a big, huge part of like entrepreneurship or making any passion project or dream happen. And it's something I struggle with because I'm always in it. Even now, I'm like, really, do I really? This is really risky right now, And
Totally.
I'm
Yeah.
going to take this foot, but I don't know that there's anything supporting me when I move my foot over there. But I trust that it's good. I trust that it's with love, and I'm doing the things for the right reasons, and usually God comes through.
It's amazing. It really, really is. And it's hard to take that leap of faith. It
Mm,
really is. But I just think it's incredible if you can and if it all
mhm,
works out.
mhm, mhm,
Maybe for someone who's feeling that maybe it's too late for them. Like I
mm.
talk to a lot of parents especially who really are like, "Oh, like I wish I did this in my 20s," you know? What would you say to somebody that's like that?
Well, they're going to have to read the book because that's what the book is all about. And the
Okay,
characters are
amazing.
literally quote unquote, is it too late? Right? Because that's what I was going
Amazing.
through. But this was
Mhm.
another conversation I had recently. I think it's so interesting that I don't know if we're all designed this way, but I'm like, everything that I'm doing now, writing a book, having a business, all
Mhm.
of these things were available to me in my 20s. I was chasing
Mm.
something else, but all of this was available to me in my 20s. So
Yeah.
why is it that these things come up now in my life when I have the
Mm.
most to lose? I've got mortgage and kids and really big bills. Like, why does this happen now? You know what I mean? And so that's just very interesting, just like in terms of like destiny and things like that. But yeah, I would say it's not too late, and maybe the success I have doing this now versus in my 20s is because of the width and breadth of experience that I accumulated. Like who's going to take a chance on 20 something, right? People take a chance on me because of everything I've done in my former life.
Mhm.
And all those things have prepared me so that I'm strong enough, smart enough, innovative enough to
Mhm.
do what I get to do in this role and phase of my life. So, is it too late, or has everything leading up to now prepared you for this big leap?
Mm. I love that perspective because often too, you'll hear people say like when they find their dream job, like in their 40s or 50s or 60s, even like the thing that they want to be doing that they're passionate about. Sometimes people will say like, "Oh, I wish I had done this in my 20s." Like imagine if my career had been that much longer. But I think you're right that that was not the correct timing. Maybe that
Mm,
opportunity wouldn't have been there if you didn't have the rest of the experiences in your life, whether it's career experiences or just life experiences,
mm,
Like you
yeah.
learn so much throughout your life from just living that maybe you wouldn't have been equipped for that. Maybe you wouldn't have had the success in it if it
Mm.
weren't for the lived experience that you have.
100%. Like, definitely, I see that for me. I definitely see all the ways I've been prepared. And then the other thing, because like obviously as an entrepreneur, I would have liked a lot more success sooner, or I would have liked my book to
Totally.
be published sooner. And I
Hmm.
would have liked to be a published author and have a few books by now. And then
Hmm.
I'm like, I am so busy. Like, thank God that God didn't give that to me when
Totally.
my kids were young, because I'm
Hmm.
so grateful. Like, time was so slow. The days were so long when they were
Yeah.
little. And now I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful that I had that then, because now things are so fast. I just like it's spinning so quickly.
Hmm.
And so I'm kind of grateful that my wish didn't come true when I wished it, and it came, 5 and 10 years later.
Yeah. The timing usually works out.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's incredible. So your book comes out next week. How are you feeling?
Great.
Well, sorry,
This week,
yesterday it came
yeah,
out.
I mean, I'm like, everybody's like, this is like the most exciting time of your life. And it's kind of like when you have a baby and everybody's like, are you enjoying it? You're like, are you kidding me
I
right
don't know.
now?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to stay alive, man.
Yes.
So no, it's super, it's really exciting when I'm hearing back from people what it's causing, which is all I ever really wanted was for them to feel encouraged or have hope
Hmm.
or be inspired. So that's really, really wonderful. But yeah, it's just funny that it's like, okay, and I'm still driving somebody somewhere and I'm still got to figure out what's for dinner. And there's still a basket of laundry and the kitty litter to clean
True.
out. And
Yep.
like
The life doesn't stop when the other
life
things are happening.
life does not stop.
Yeah.
But a lot of things are exciting, and I'm grateful that, so this was really cool, and you'll appreciate this, is like the kids can be, they like, my kids are really funny, so they love roasting me and heckling me and my husband. Especially the twins, because twins always have an audience, so they're really funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're always like, how many books have you published now? And I'm like, I published a lot of books, but they've been my clients' books. This is my first book. And they're just like, they just think it's so funny. Right. And
Aw.
so they're always making fun of me. But last night or night before, one of my twins said, he's like, I think it's really cool. I'm going to get choked up. He's like, I think that's really cool. Your books in bookstores. And I'm like, wow, like you're
Aw.
actually being earnest. I'm like, are you joking me right now? And he's like, no, I think it's really cool. And so it's great. That they see, that these wild dreams can come true.
Mhm.
And I hope for people that have known me over the years and that, are wondering, like, is it too late for me? Can I do that? I know when I wanted to write a book and I thought that was a ridiculous dream, it was the people that I knew that were doing it that I was like, hey, Kat, like, no excuses. She's doing it. You can totally do it. So I want to
Mhm.
be that for other people. That's like, no
Oh,
excuses. If I can do it, you can totally do this. And that's the most exciting part of it for me.
that's so, so special. I love that. What do you hope that people really do take away from their book, not just in their minds, like not just from reading it and hearing it, but really in their hearts?
I hope, well, especially for the moms, I hope that they hear um, that, yeah, it's not too late and that you matter and you get to have your dreams come true still. And dreams can take a long time to come true. So it can happen after you've had kids. And, so I really hope that they hear that and that they're doing great. You're doing
Mhm.
great. You're really doing great. It's phenomenal what you do every day. And for every woman, I just hope that they trust their inner intuition, they trust themselves, that they trust God, that they trust things are happening for them,
Mhm.
and everything is moving in the right direction, and have faith.
I love that. And I love that you matter. Like sometimes the things that make us feel a little uncomfortable are the things that we need to hear. And I think as a parent, especially, and in the early days, like it's so easy to put everybody else's needs first and to say, like, oh, I don't matter.
Mm.
Even like, I was talking to my naturopath about this, but like, I don't even go pee. Like sometimes when I have to pee, I'll like wait because other people need me. Like
Yeah.
that is a physiological thing that is a need, or eat
Yes.
or drink water. Like, your needs always go last, but you matter. Like treat
Mhm.
yourself like you matter.
Yeah. And it can be a
So
scary
I
thing
love that.
too. It can be a scary thing
It
too.
is.
Like you got to show up. You got to show
Mhm.
up for you. You got to show up for the people in life. Um, but yeah, you really matter. You make a difference, and
Mhm.
people are watching. And it's not to say that like you should, uh, like you said, like take care of everybody else. It's not about that. It's, yeah, you count. You matter. You got to take care of yourself because people need
Mhm.
you, and they look up to you, and all of those things.
Yeah, what a great message. My last question for you is if your kids were to read your book one day as adults or now, what do you hope that they see in it about you?
I'm going to get choked up. I hope they see courage.
Ah.
I hope they see courage. I hope they see courage to be yourself, warts and all. Like, I'm not perfect. And characters in this book, I fought for them to not be perfect. Sometimes
Mm.
editors and publishers were like, we'd like them to be a little bit nicer or a little bit kinder. But I'm like, we're not perfect. And
Mhm.
you should be loved and you get to be loved. And you don't have to be perfect for anybody to love you or to feel love,
Hmm.
that you're loved just the way you are.
I love that. That is
Thank you.
so special. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
with us
you.
today. Where can people find you, connect with you, get
Mm.
your book?
Yeah, after I finish crying.
Yes. Oh.
Um, so it's available everywhere, Barnes and Nobles, all your favorite retailers, indie bookstores, big chains, Amazon.com, and please find me on Instagram at Cat Margulis. I would love to get to know you there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you,
with us and
Ariana.
for being vulnerable. And I'm excited to read the book.
Thank you. This is so
Yeah.
fun. Thanks for having me on the show. It was great chatting
Thank
with you.
you.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Your Cup of Joy. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as I did. And if this episode resonated with you, or if you've been loving this show, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Your support helps the podcast grow, it helps it reach more people, and it means the absolute world to me. So keep filling your cup with joy, and I will see you next week.